Hello, Kenneth L. Roth Jr. again. I promised you the truth about how I lost my daughter, custody of my kid. Now, I want to give you a little brief history. Back before my daughter was even 1 year old, and while we were going through the custody battle and divorce proceedings, my ex-wife filed for temporary custody, stating that I was abusive to the children. But I had weekend visitations. One weekend, my daughter came from her weekend visitation. I was laying her down for a nap, and now, mind you, she's only like 9-10 months old. Fortunately, she was able to talk though. My daughter tried to French kiss me. Now, I asked her how she knew, what she's seen, or if, that she shouldn't do. I was telling her she shouldn't do that, and who was teaching her that stuff. She tells me that my ex-wife's new boyfriend is teaching her, my daughter, who is 9-10 months old, how to French kiss. After I got her to sleep, I immediately called Swanton Police Department. They came out and made a report, and then they called Children's Services, Fulton County. They came out, asked me a bunch of questions about, what took place. 2 weeks later, we went to court in front of Judge Barber. Judge Barber didn't do a damn thing. He told me that he would not believe a 10-month-old over an adult. Now, a 10-month-old does not know how to lie yet. They don't know how to lie. They weren't taught that yet. And 10-year-olds can't make up stories like that, especially that kind of thing. He told me that unless this guy penetrates my daughter, actually penetrates her, he can't do a damn thing. Now, I've seen on TV, on the news, that they've put guys away for just touching. Not just kissing or penetrating, but just for touching a child. And yet, he couldn't do a damn thing about it. That's one misjustice. The second misjustice, every time that my daughter would go to her mom's, she would come back with head lice. I proved this. There was only twice that she came home from daycare with lice due to her contracting it from either school or from the daycare center. The rest of the time, it was from my ex-wife's house. Now, this was getting to be an every other week occurrence. We went to court. The judge said, and I quote, "You'll just have to live with it." End quote. This is Judge Barber. Now, isn't he supposed to be protecting the child, not protecting the mother? Now, my ex-wife moved out of state, and she was going to take my child without notification. Luckily, I found out, and I stopped her. We had to file for emergency custody order. The judge ended up letting her go with my child out of state to Georgia. Okay? She didn't follow the rules. She's supposed to file paperwork with the court and me before she leaves, 30 days before she leaves. She never did it. Then the judge turns around and lets her take her out of state. I wanted to move down to Texas. I followed the rules. I filed the paperwork 30 days in advance. Got moved all the way down there, and then the judge, now this is 30 days after I've moved down there, Then the judge, Judge Barber, filed a motion and filed a court date for a hearing. This is after I moved. This is at 30 days after we've already been down there. Now, in the way he was making it sound, he was going to take and give her back to my ex-wife custody just because we moved. Here's some personal biases. My ex-wife's brother had 18 DUIs from the same judge, Judge Barber. Judge Barber never put him in prison. 18 DUIs. He finally put him in prison, not because he obtained a 19th DUI, but because he killed 3 people doing so. He killed a family. His truck went airborne, hit the car, decapitated all 3 individuals in the car. A mother, a dad, and a child. Then the judge finally got off his ass and put the dude in prison. That dude's name is Carl Dillbone. Then, throughout this custody battle or battles, because this went on for years, my ex-wife's other brother, James Dillbone, did in fact molest my ex-wife's daughter and my ex-wife's sister's daughter, who was 11, 12. What I mean by molested is he groped them. Now, my ex-wife's sister's boyfriend went over to where James Dillbone was living and beat the living shit out of him. He turned him and was forced to turn himself in to Fulton County. But yet, the Dillbone family didn't file charges. The judge didn't even make him register as a sex offender. He pled guilty because the state, the prosecutor filed charges against him, but yet he is not listed as a child predator. Is this a judge that we can honestly trust and to make rational and judgments that is going to protect people? He sure as hell protecting my ex-wife for letting my kid get lice all the time. I mean, to the point where it was so bad after treating her hair for 8 hours, we still ended up having to cut all her hair off because the head lice was so bad. And to have a guy French kissing my daughter at 10 months old, and a judge says he can't do anything unless that dude penetrates my kid? What kind of judge is this? He's a fucking joke. He should be disbarred for what he's done. I have to stop this because it's getting lengthy. So I'm going to have to make another video explaining the last experience I've had with Judge Barber. Part 11B is coming up.